Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections of mine, and welcome back to another installment of I've Never Seen It Before. As the name implies, it's just my review series where I review films that I've been meaning to get to for some time, either recent releases that I missed the first time around, or older films that I've been hearing so much about that I wanted to see but never got around to until just now, and then I give my thoughts on them. In this case, it's a relatively old release, but given that there's going to be a remake coming up, I feel like it's only fair that I see this film for the first time and see this going into the remake, and that is 1995's Mortal Kombat, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and has a cast of relative unknowns at the time. I don't know how well these are known throughout films afterwards, but they're fulfilling the roles as they were played out in this film, namely, I hope I don't mispronounce this, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa as Shang Tsung, Robin Shao as Liu Kang, Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, Bridget Wilson as Sonya Blade, Talisa Soto as Katana, and Christopher Lambert as Lord Raiden. And these are all characters from the famous Mortal Kombat video game series, and as this film shows, that these are characters that are locked in a Mortal Kombat tournament, a martial arts tournament for the fate of the planet Earth. And really, do you really need to know any more than that? This is one of those these movies that is often touted as one of the best, if not the best, video game adaptation that is out there. When other video game movies come out, be it Tomb Raider or Sonic the Hedgehog or what have you, more often than not they're compared to Mortal Kombat because the general consensus is this is the video game movie that actually works. And full disclosure, my history of Mortal Kombat is, while I have soaked up various knowledge of the Mortal Kombat series through, the pop culture zeitgeist and, just osmosis of various sources, I know these names, but I never actually played the Mortal Kombat games, unless you count, playing the demo mode, pretending that I'm playing with the characters while it's waiting for you to insert the quarter in the cabinet in the Walmart by you, which is basically what I had. I knew that Mortal Kombat was a thing, and really my only exposure of the Mortal Kombat film series was the song, the Mortal Kombat theme song, and let me tell you, it is just amazing. I'll just throw that out there. I don't think anyone can disagree that the Mortal Kombat theme song is awesome. And is the fact that is the Mortal Kombat, the guy just shouting Mortal Kombat is name dropped about 4 or 5 times throughout this film is an indication that they were really banking on that theme song, and really, who can blame them? That's a great song, but more to the point, is this movie, Mortal Kombat 1995, a good movie? And also, is it a good video game adaptation, as has been claimed throughout the years? Given that I'm about 10 minutes removed from watching my first viewing of this film, I would say, given my limited knowledge of the Mortal Kombat franchise, I would say, yeah, this is a pretty faithful adaptation of the Mortal Kombat game. In that, there's pretty much not much of a plot associated with it. The bare bones of a plot is there's a tournament that determines the fate of the planet Earth, and it's up to our main 3 human fighters, namely Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade, to fight for the future of Earth. They do in this tournament, and that's about it. if you didn't know anything about the Mortal Kombat games, if you just showed up to this movie just with no knowledge at all, this movie would feel very disjointed, and it is. This film, once you kind of establish that there's a tournament going on, and once the tournament kind of begins, there's really no transition between one fight to the next to the next. 1 minute, Liu Kang's fighting some random dude that I have no clue who he is. Then Sonya's fighting Kano, which they were sort of establishing earlier that Kano killed Sonya's partner. Okay, so there's some stakes there. Then they shift to Johnny Cage fighting Scorpion in a field of trees, which then becomes a weird realm of skeletons and bridges, kind of like the setup kind of reminds me of the Goblin Town in the Hobbit Unexpected Journey. Yeah, it feels like it's kind of jumping from one to the other with no real consequence. But then again, that's pretty much what the game was. I mean, if you played the arcade game, it's basically just, put your quarters in and pick one fighter, pick the other fighter. Okay, fight. And that's about it. And as far as an adaptation goes, I would say this is pretty honest. And that is, as far as an adaptation goes, I'd say this one hits the mark exactly. Now, I know that the Mortal Kombat franchise is known for, particularly gory kills and fatalities and all of that. And from what I could tell, this film, again, released in 1995 and trying to keep a PG-13 rating, as far as I can tell, they get away with about as much as you could expect while not breaking into our territory, and I respect them for that. But that's something I'm looking forward to with the new Mortal Kombat that's coming out in 2021, namely this Friday, which I have tickets to see, and I'll be reviewing that. But again, that's something to look forward to. But as far as this film goes, I would say it's about as good as one could expect. As far as production standpoint goes, I really like the fact that it's sort of a mixed bag, which is kind of what I expect from a mid-90s film. There are some effects that look like they're straight out of, late 60s, early 70s films, and Goro, the four-armed fighter, he's got sort of a Harryhausen-esque design to him that I really enjoy, in that I'm sure he's a humongous threat in the games, but as he's presented in this film, it's sort of, he kind of moves kind of awkwardly, and they're trying really hard to sell you on the fact that he's really dangerous. But really, he's just kind of a guy with probably like a prosthetic head and an extra set of arms on his head, and he's just kind of like, And it's like, I think that for what they could sell, I think the effects did really well. Where it really kind of falters is where they tried to do the realistic CGI effects, namely with Reptile before he takes human form, and the close-ups of Scorpion's, stinger coming out of his hand. In the later film, in daylight, it looks okay, but earlier there's a scene where he kind of starts sprouting out his thing in a low light or like a cave or something, and that just looks terrible. And that's pretty much what I expect from mid-90s CGI, where they were trying to get it sort of right. And it sort of like gives it a low-budget feel to it, which, again, that kind of sells the feel of this, where it's, and overall, not just the effects, not just the acting, but this whole overall thing, where I feel like the people who made this film knew this was going to be a ridiculous movie, and this was not supposed to be something that was going to be taken super, super seriously. Like, this is something, again, they sort of sell it as, it's the fate of the world, and you got it, and it's all up to you, and these are cliche lines. We all know these are cliche lines. They know they're cliche lines, and so they kind of play into that. And again, I feel like as far as a video game adaptation goes, a lot of video game films fail in that they try to take their subject matter so seriously, and when they can't pull it off, they fail spectacularly, or they just kind of fail as being mediocre and be like, okay, that's just generally forgettable. I feel like Mortal Kombat, because it has been held up as the standard of best video game adaptations ever, is because, as I've seen, it doesn't take itself so seriously. And I feel like the games didn't take themselves so seriously. And because of that, I feel like the game and the movie tone matches. And we get this sort of alchemy of, yeah, this is kind of a fun B-movie material. And there's some silly things on there. And Johnny Cage has some funny one-liners in here. And I think this just kind of works. It works as a B-movie. If you're going to come into this and try to take it super seriously, you're going to be disappointed. But if you come into this thinking, okay, this is going to be a fun little action film, let's have some martial arts in between some cheesy dialogue, I think you're going to have a good time. And I had a good time as well. And as I said before, that song, man, just that song. That's... And I've heard that it's the laser tag anthem of the world. I'm not entirely certain that I've played laser tag to Mortal Kombat, but I will totally be down to playing a match of laser tag to the song of Mortal Kombat. So those are my main thoughts on Mortal Kombat 1995. If you've seen it before, what do you think of the film? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Really, as far as this film, if anything that I've seen before, really the only thing that I noticed that kind of reminded me of something else is the fact that Shang Tsung's powers revolve around the fact that he's got the 1,000 warrior souls to his bidding. That just kind of reminded me of the contract of 1,000 souls from Ghost Rider. That gave Darkheart his power. Again, sort of a random comparison, but that just kind of reminded me of that. There's your you've seen it before comparison. Are there any other comparisons to Mortal Kombat 1995 that you can make to other films that have come before or since, if you've never seen Mortal Kombat before like I have? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to look for my review of Mortal Kombat 2021, which, as I said, will be coming out April 23rd, this coming Friday. I'll be having a review for that soon after I see that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you liked this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially a subscribe. I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, you guys are the best, but just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.